exact same question about the masks. If I can get some, I got some thumbs up. I love it. This is a good crowd. So exactly like Dave said, my name is Matt Seltzer. I work in marketing. I am literally a marketing and market research consultant here in Las Vegas. I've been doing marketing for a very, very long time. And first off, I also represent myself as a cartoon character sometimes because it's easier than actually putting that on my desk. But like I said, I know a ton about marketing. I work with brands, I work with agencies, we conduct research, we do everything you can think of to create marketing strategy. When I started my business about 2 years ago, I figured I still gotta learn sales, and maybe I don't know a ton about that. So it was a big learning experience for me when I started my business. But like I said, I'm a marketing guy, I'm a market research guy, and I started with the thing that I know the most, and this is a question for everyone. What is the most effective marketing tactic? This is not my opinion, it is from statistics. Does anyone know the most effective marketing tactic? It is word of mouth. More than any other thing that you can imagine. For a long time early in my career, I used to do market research for events here in Las Vegas. We'd always ask the question, how did you hear about this event? 75% of people said, my buddy told me. Doesn't matter about all the ads, doesn't matter about all the emails. Everyone thinks about what their buddy told them. And really, I always like this quote to think about that. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that really is the absolute essence of sales. And so taking all of that into my mind, I started my business about 2 years ago, and unfortunately, as the title says, I suck at sales. Now again, that's probably not the thing you guys want to hear, especially in a presentation about sales, but let me explain why I suck at sales. So again, I got out here, I'm born and raised in Las Vegas, I know a lot of people, and I thought, you know what, day one of my business, I'm gonna go talk to every single person I can. And I did that for months, talked to everyone. I went to networking events, I spoke at Rotary clubs, and everything you think of. Didn't get any business, all right? And in fact, it got so bad, this was probably a low point in my career. I met with everyone, they liked me, but we hadn't got anywhere, but one person actually felt so bad that they connected me with a friend. This is someone that I wanted to work with, and he's calling me and saying, hey, I got this guy I think you might be able to help. That's how bad he felt for me. That was a low point. So I met with this person, we ended up doing some work together, but again, I couldn't leave it in my head. I felt so bad that someone felt so bad for me. And then the worst part, it happened again. That someone else I connected with introduced me to someone else that they know. And then we did some work, turned out great, and then actually that person introduced me to someone. And I think you guys are gonna get where this is going. That's sales, right there. That in the entire process, that thing that I said I suck at, it's just different than I thought. And one of my major takeaways from that entire experience is that people like helping people. And there's almost something utilitarian about the fact that I know that you need a market research guy. I have a market research guy. It helps me by connecting you. But meanwhile, I'm integrating into that sales process. And then of course the solution, if this is how it works, if this is really how sales works, is that we need to connect with everyone. I mean, literally everyone that you could think of. So that's sales right there. And let's talk about, and again, the more you do that, and the reason for this is because everyone knows 10 people. So I gotta stress that again. Everyone knows 10 people, everyone knows 10 people that know 10 people. Again, that's networking, and it goes back to meet everyone that you can. So like I said, I'm a data guy, I'm a research guy, and I like math equations. So here's our math equation that we're trying to assemble. This purple guy, that's you. And you're thinking, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go talk to one person, and that person is gonna go talk to their 10 people, and that's how you're gonna get business. And it makes complete sense. That's the exact process that we've highlighted. Here's the problem. I'm supposed to time a little bit better. There we go. Here's the problem. We've got our formula right here. You're gonna go and you're gonna talk to someone and they are going to love you because you're great at what you do and you're passionate about what you do and it's gonna come through. And exactly like Jody said, these damn squirrels come up. And what happens? We get distracted and the rest of that whole math equation goes out of the way. And we all know it, it's there, it's right there. So here's the solution. We have to remind people. We cannot let them forget about us. So I've got my squirrel killer up here. But I want to give you guys 3 real tactical kind of thinking groups about what we can do to make those squirrels go away. And so first off, I've got stay in touch. The next one is connect frequently. And the third one is automate, automate, automate. Let me go into each one of those real quick. Thank you guys for putting up with me. I'm a big fan of water. So let's talk about staying in touch. You met with someone. You met them at a networking event. Maybe you were speaking at a Rotary club. It happens. But now you don't want them to forget you. And we have some amazing technology to do that right now. And I'm going to talk about text and email first. You want to email your audience as much as possible once you meet them. And as much as possible is a relative term. If you're the guy who's spamming their inbox, probably not going to go well. But what you want to do, the entire purpose of email and texting right now is so they don't forget you. So what you want to do the moment you meet someone, the moment you've talked to someone and said, you know, this is someone that should be in my network, get them into your email system. I'm going to talk about what an email system is at the end, right? But send them things that you're excited about. If you're working on a big project right now, there's nothing wrong with emailing your entire database of people saying, I'm working on this cool project right now. Doesn't have to be anything big. They may not even read it. But you will be amazed by just popping up on the radar what that does. Likewise, send things to people that can help them. If you have a blog, if you write any kind of articles right now, and you've written an article that might help someone, send it to them, by all means. If you've got 200 people, 2,000 people on an email list, and they can all benefit from that article, send it to them. But likewise, let's say you're not a writer, you don't want to write a blog, you don't have any of that. One of the most powerful sales tools I had a mentor teach me this years ago that you can do is send people articles about their industry. You know, I used to do a lot of marketing and PR for the construction industry, and whenever something popped up on the commercial real estate radar, I would send it to those people. And right there, I'm helping them. I'm providing value. But for me, I'm making sure they don't forget about me. And that again creates that utilitarian factor. And then the last thing that you can always do, there is nothing wrong with saying, hey, what's up? There's people I don't talk to for 3 months, they send me a one-line text message, and I literally mean text message, or an email that says, hey, haven't heard from you in a while, Matt, wanted to see how it's going. And that's completely appropriate. And it's completely appropriate for you to send that same email to 300 people, blind copied with their name on it, and they have no clue. And what did you do right there? You reminded people. But the other piece I want to talk about is social media. Now, I'm sure everyone here has heard about social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of these. There's a lot of different things you can do. But the whole reason, and I'm not sure, actually Matt's a friend of mine on Facebook, so I have people on Facebook all the time that I want to do business with. I know everyone thinks LinkedIn, and I do use LinkedIn, but you know what I post on Facebook? Pictures of my kids and dad jokes. And you know who people like to do business with? The person who's also posting pictures of their kids, the person who's telling the same dumb jokes. That's the power of social media. And I don't even have to email with them. I just have to stay in touch. And again, it's because you don't want them to forget you. That's plain and simple. You want to stay in touch because you don't want people to forget you. But that is separate from the second thing I want to talk about, which is connecting frequently. I think everyone here can agree with this. Business happens in person. I mean, really, you get in front of someone, it's a completely different game. And it's important to remember that that is a different relationship than your email, your phone call, your text messaging relationship. We were just talking about how you don't want me to forget, I don't want people to forget me. That's totally different than who I'm going to do business with. Just staying on a radar and being meaningful a radar are different. So think about that. We have to connect with an audience. And again, it's a weird time right now, so online works too. If you have to Zoom with your audience, there's nothing wrong with that right now. But I will stress, if you can take it offline from there, go for it. I'll give you a fantastic example. Literally 3 weeks ago, I published my first book. Super thrilled about it. It's on Amazon. We can talk about that later. But I'll tell you what I've done for the last 3 weeks. Anytime I get off a Zoom call, I go on Amazon, I buy them a book. It cost me next to nothing because I wrote it. They have it in their hands the next day. But the big takeaway I want you to realize from that is that I took an online relationship and now they're physically holding something. And anytime you can do that, I've seen direct mail packages where you can send people thank you baskets on the fly. They'll literally have popcorn in their house tomorrow. And how powerful is that if you have to be in an online situation? Now the question, of course, is, how do you connect with people? It's kind of a weird world right now, and just saying, hey, do you want to get together? Is that always going to work? So what I recommend is invite the people you're talking to everything you're going to. If you're going to go have lunch with a colleague, invite the person you want to have business with. Make a big thing out of it. If you're going to a conference, invite people to come. Feel free to buy them a ticket if you think that can help your business. Mixers. I didn't even mention this, so I'm the board president of the American Marketing Association here in Las Vegas. We host Mixers quarterly. We do luncheons once a month. Every person I want to do business with is invited to those events. And granted, I maybe get about 1 minute of FaceTime with them and their networking. But 1 minute of FaceTime is powerful. And the fact that I've brought them to an event that they can network, which you guys probably all assume is going to help them as well, you're the person they remember who created that connection. All of that is sales. And then seminars and webinars. Even if you have someone who just wants to be online, inviting someone to come to a webinar with you. You guys can text and chat during. If you don't have any webinars or seminars coming up, host one. There's nothing wrong with hosting a webinar and building a sales funnel around it. But again, really think, Could I invite my big prospect to come to this? And all of a sudden, again, you're creating opportunities for FaceTime, which is exactly what you're trying to do. And the third takeaway I really want you to focus on is automate, automate, automate. So I just told you guys I need you to email all your clients a few hundred times a month, text them, invite them to conferences. That's a lot. It's a lot of stress, and I think we've already established 24 hours isn't enough in the day. So anything that you can automate, I recommend doing it. Let me give you a great example. Let's say I meet with someone, first time we've ever met. We have a great conversation, and we both realize we both love baseball and we both hate onions. And it's the texture, not the taste for me. But so we do that. We have this conversation, and that was our meaningful connection. And I think everyone here can appreciate that's that relationship side of it. Now, flash forward a month later, I give that person a call. And I don't just call them to see how things are going. I mention the baseball, and I mention the gross onions. And now I've reminded them of who I am in that great conversation. I've continued that relationship. That's powerful, right? Well, you guys gotta realize it's pretty darn powerful when I had an alarm go off that morning, a month later, that said, hey, make sure you call your prospect, make sure you mention the baseball, make sure you mention the onions. That's the powerful tool. That's the tools that I'm using right now, and I'll talk about a few of them, but I can't remember if someone likes baseball or hates onions. I just assume everyone hates onions. But my takeaway is I gotta write it down, and I gotta remember to call someone in a month, and we have the tools to help us with this. So let me give you some super quick tools. First off, Google Calendar. Does anyone use a calendar on their phone or their email right now? Okay, they all have reminder functions. You could just set a reminder for anything. I literally have a teammate in my office, we share a big office, that if I get off the phone with someone and I say I'm gonna call you in a month, she adds it to my calendar right there. And again, and if she heard me talk about onions, she puts it in the notes. Now I'm not saying you have to have that team member, you can do it just yourself. iPhone reminders. Literally all the time, I grab my phone, I say, hey Siri, in 2 hours remind me to do this, in 6 hours, in 2 months remind me to do this. And she does. And it only cost me $900 for an iPhone. But my point is, we have the technology, it's all there. I use an Alexa for the same thing. There's an app that I always love called Todoist. It's literally an automated to-do list. And then HubSpot. And I'm gonna talk about HubSpot in a sec. And again, what kind of reminders are you setting up? Reminders to call or text someone, because you're gonna forget. I don't care how important that call was, it was a month ago, you're gonna forget. If you need to follow up with someone, or on something, and or on something is big, because it's one thing to call someone out of a month and see how they're doing, it's another thing to say, hey, I've been thinking about that thing we talked about. Here's a solution I've been thinking about over a month. Now you're following up on something. And reminders to post on social media. We already talked about social media, it's important, it'll help you to stay in touch. Dave, I think I literally told you to do this at one point. Set a reminder every Monday at 10 a.m. to post on LinkedIn. And I promise, if your Google Calendar goes off, you're not going to forget anymore. And all of a sudden, you've solved that problem of posting. Email. You can automate your email. I talked about emailing 500 people a second ago, and that sounds tedious. ConvertKit, MailChimp, Constant Contact, and HubSpot. Every single one of those is free to email a few hundred people. The cost is nominal from there, but what I'm talking about is you're done. And in fact, you can even set something up where I meet with you, I go onto my computer and put your email address in, you're gonna get a thank you email that night, you're gonna get a follow-up the next morning. The follow-up is one of my favorites because, hey John, I forgot something, I wanted to tell you this. You can automate that. And every time you meet someone the next day, hey John, I forgot something. Hey Amy, I forgot something. It becomes routine. You can build all of this in. And again, all of these are free or incredibly cheap. They're very easy to use, and I'm going to talk about HubSpot again in a sec. Text messaging. You can automate text messaging now. Simple texting, Textedly, again, HubSpot. Does anyone know who this is?
Gary Vee.
It's Gary Vee. Gary Vee is many things. He's a marketing expert. He's an influencer. Gary Vee has texted me twice during this meeting today. He sends me motivational things. It's exactly me. Jody would love him. It's exactly what you're thinking of. But he texts me. And I just want to stress, who texts you in this world? It's your friends, for the most part. We're now at a point where text is saturated in marketing. So it's powerful when you get a mass text. I'll give you a quick one-off. I did some marketing consulting for my synagogue for a long time. And during COVID, they were putting everyone, you had to watch on Zoom. They'd get huge signups for people to actually come. And then no one would actually sign up for them. They'd actually attend the Zoom meeting. So what did we start doing? We started texting everyone the Zoom link 10 minutes before. 75% of the audience came. I mean, it's that simple. The tools are there. And it's because, again, texting is easy. Not just for you to send, but for you to receive. That's the kind of staying in touch. And then there are tools to schedule social media. Again, we've talked about doing social media. Facebook and Instagram, if those are some that you want to use, you can schedule your posts in Facebook and Instagram. That means you can actually sit down for half an hour on a Monday and get all your posts for your business or your personal account scheduled for the week. Twitter has the exact same thing. In native, you go into Twitter, it has a section called Tweetbot. You can schedule all your tweets for the next month if you want. Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a third-party app, again, free. You can post whatever, you can schedule your LinkedIn post for your business, for your personal account. And what I always recommend to people, schedule a few things on LinkedIn. Doesn't have to be every single day. But the reason is, I personally like to post on LinkedIn. I like to post exciting things. I'm not gonna have content every day. So now I've scheduled 3 posts for the week. And when I think of 1 or 2 more, there's my activity. You know, I've just taken the hard part out of it. And again, there's that HubSpot. And I keep mentioning HubSpot, and there's a reason I bring this up. It's because HubSpot is something you can go take away right now. HubSpot is a series of tools that I'm in no way affiliated with. I want to stress that I just use them for email automation, for calendar reminders. If anyone got my business card, and I'll have a copy, I literally have a QR code on the back of it. You can schedule a meeting with me. Schedule it right on my calendar. It takes 0 effort. It was free through HubSpot. That's a tool that I use. And the thing I love about HubSpot is all of their courses are free. So this is where I said in a weekend, you could become literally an internet sales expert, and it will cost you nothing, except your time, which you never get back, so take that with a grain of salt. But all their courses are free. This isn't even close to all of them. And in fact, I know no one here is looking for a job, but if anyone ever is, most of them come with certifications that you can put on your resume too. But the big thing I want to stress, I mentioned scheduling your social media, scheduling your email, automating your email. Every single one of those has a 3-hour course. You'll be a pro by the end of it. You take a Saturday, you take a Sunday, have a nice wine with you, you're going to be great by Monday. So, just to tie this all together, I talked about 3 things that we need to do to really get sales going. 1, stay in touch. 2, connect frequently. And 3, automate, automate, automate. I want to close out with just 2 final thoughts though. First and foremost, final thought number 1, be helpful. We didn't really talk about this much within the cycle, but here's our math equation. We know this works. We know if I talk to people, I keep them up to date, they remember me. That's how sales works. The trick with this is you have to be helpful the entire time. Lack of a better term, no one wants to help a dick. They want to help their friends. And they want to help people who are helpful. And that's the entire process right there. I mean, really, but you get it. You want to be as helpful and positive. And I even mentioned it when we're sending emails and sending articles. You're not trying to sell. You're trying to send an article that you think is going to help them. You want to be branded as that helpful person because that's what makes this equation go. And final thought number 2, my last final thought, I swear, is that it takes time. So this is a slow process, and depending what industry you work in, it can be even slower. I predominantly work with advertising agencies and brands. A lot of times there's a resale component in this that they're trying to add my services onto theirs. When I meet with someone, it might take a year before we really start doing business. And it took me a long time to realize that. But that's fine, it's math. And if I know it's just gonna take a year, the simple solution, and we're gonna talk about it at final time, connect with everyone. If I know it's gonna take me 6 months to a year, maybe even 2 years, cool, I just need more people in that pipeline. That's the simple solution. So I covered a lot of ground. If you do have any questions for me, I have all my contact information here. And exactly as I said, I wrote a book. Literally, I'm still in that hype mode now. I'm not even trying to sell the book. I'm just freaking excited that I wrote a book. This is my COVID project. But if you do have any interest, you can open up your camera right now. It'll take you, that QR code will take you to Amazon, and you can pick up a copy, see what everyone's saying about it. Literally, though, again, I'm just thrilled because I love talking about marketing. This was just a great opportunity. COVID gave me a time to sit down and write. But again, I would love for you to take a picture of my contact information because I love talking marketing, I love talking strategy, and apparently I like talking sales, but I'm still figuring that part out that I'm okay at that. With that in mind though, are there any questions?